Welcome back. It's time for Media Watch France, our daily look at what's making waves in the French press and social media. Olivia Salazar-Winspear has the lowdown. Good evening.
Hi.
And it seems Nadine Morano is at it again. She's a former minister here in France. She's prone to making gaffes, and she made a new one today.
Yes, Nadine Morano has come to be known as the unofficial queen of the gaffe, we might say. Now, she's been the victim of a comedian's practical joke that ended up revealing a few controversial opinions for Morano. Now, the guy responsible for this is Gérard Darroux. He's known in France for his impersonations. He's very good at mimicking people's voices.
And he tricked her.
He tricked her. She fell for it. He pretended to be Louis Alliot, that's the National Front #2, and also Marine Le Pen's partner. And he phoned up Nadine Morano.
So very right-wing here
Very
in France.
right, extreme right. On her mobile phone, and to ask her what she thought about the leader of the Front National. Le Parisien has the story here, saying that Nadine Morano has been tricked, as well as pretty much every other paper in France today had this story on the front page. She fell for his, impersonation, hook, line, and sinker. And when asked about Marine Le Pen, she said that she thought she was, quote, a talented politician, and that she agreed with her on a number of social issues. Now, when the conversation turned to this very contentious issue of foreigners getting the vote here in France, which
is a big one for the far right, of course.
Enormous. It was enormous during the presidential campaign, and it's come up again in the parliamentary elections. She said, Morano's response was, I don't want it to become Lebanon here, saying that she didn't want the kind of communitarianism and, partisan loyalties dictating voters' behaviour. Now, obviously, a very, very inflammatory thing to say. Eventually, it was revealed that this phone call was a hoax. Nadine Morano was, of course, furious when she found out that she'd been tricked. She said she'd pressed charges against Darroux, calling him a militant socialist who had an agenda to try and sabotage her. Here she tweets it, saying that she's a responsible politician and she's free to say what she wants. However, she wasn't the only one.
I can understand, though, that it shocked many people.
I mean, it's pretty strong what she said, yeah.
It is.
She wasn't the only one who was outraged. François Fillon, former Prime Minister, says here, which is, very interesting. He said, Nadine Morano should have put the phone down straight away because we don't speak to Front National leaders. We should reject all forms of extremism from the Front National as well as the Front de Gauche.
So François Fillon there comparing the far right to the far left, one xenophobic party to one who's, sure, an extreme, but not xenophobic.
Exactly, and this is the interesting thing that's come out of that tweet from François Fillon. There's this parallel between the extreme right and the extreme left, which has been presented as, they have both been presented as equally dangerous by certain people in the UMP. It's a sentiment that's emerged in recent weeks. Here we've got L'Express, where Jean-François Copé of the UMP says that both parties demonstrate the same extremism and the same populist values. And Le Point as well treats the issues. They talk about, of course, the interesting runoff that we'll see on Sunday in Hénin-Beaumont, where Jean-Luc Mélenchon and Marine Le Pen will go head-to-head in the same constituency. So you've got one extreme against the other.
Now, that's caused some debate, though, comparing the two. I think not everyone agrees that there's something you can
and
put
some
on the same
people have
level.
pointed the finger at the UMP, saying, well, they're just bringing this up so that they can shrug off suggestions that they're going to align themselves with the Front National. But Morano doesn't seem to be shy about aligning herself with the Front National. She's called on Front National voters, actually, in her constituency, which is Meurthe-et-Moselle, to vote for her on Sunday because she says she shares many of their values. And she's even come out defending what she said about Marine Le Pen when she said she was a talented politician. She stands by that today, saying she's a great orator and she's successful.
All right, so she's not backing down. Next, to look in the opposite camp, the socialists. Not all is well in the left wing.
Well, no,
although they look set for the.
They look set to do well in the elections, but it doesn't mean there's no obstacles in their path. This story is about Ségolène Royal, one-time presidential candidate and a candidate for this week's Sunday's parliamentary vote. Here we see Ségolène Royal in front of her apartment building. Now, she's next to a name that, as we know, has presented a few problems this week, the name Falorni. Just to recap, this is the tweet that won't go away. Valérie Trierweiler
First Lady.
supported, well, first girlfriend as she is known, supported Olivier Falorni against Ségolène Royal, even though Ségolène Royal is the official socialist candidate in the election this Sunday, which then is veering off the party line. It's going against what François Hollande has said, and it's also seen as a bit of a personal attack because these are the two women in François Hollande's life. Someone's taken that attack a step further by posting this campaign flyer on Ségolène Royal's apartment door.
So the campaign flyer for Falorni that was posted
Here is
Ségolène home.
Yes, and this is in her apartment where, you know, like in many apartments in France, you have to enter with a code through a private door. So she's furious. You can see she doesn't look very impressed in this photo here.
Indeed.
And she's going to press charges about this.
All right. All right. Well, the saga continues, I suppose. That was the big scandal of yesterday. It's got a new development today.
Yeah.
Olivia Salazar-Winspear, thanks very much for joining us. That was Media Watch France on France 24. Do stay tuned. Up next is a fresh news bulletin with all the top stories, including France making it through to the quarterfinals in the Euro 2012 competition. Les Bleus just beat Ukraine 2-0. We'll bring you an update on that match.